So we'll be starting with lookup functions today. See, I guess you people have been using it for quite a long time. If you're an Excel user and you're using it for the reporting purpose, then you should be familiar with the lookup functions, at least one of them. So we'll be discussing that thoroughly today. Completely, the topic about lookup functions will be taken up. So I'll start with Vlookup. So even before I do that, so lookup means to search. So there are certain functions provided in Excel for us. So the famous ones like VLOOKUP, HLOOKUP, index and match combination, these things. Let's start from VLOOKUP. Now you can see an employee database over here. So out of this employee database, I choose a particular employee, and of this employee, I require name, department, earnings, and other details. So this is quite similar to, especially if you have booked a train, you would have got a PNR number. So that PNR number, you will look for that on the berth, and you will check in which seat is it exactly, whether the confirmation is there or not. So this is something in the same manner. Or I could give you another example. See, if you have seen any uh, results on the notice board, let's say, you check for your registration number first in the list, and then once you get that, you will look for the column which displays the result that you want to see. So this VLOOKUP works very similar to that. Now let me show you. Now I have an employee ID E005. So now this will be looked for in the leftmost column of my selection in the vertical manner. VLOOKUP means vertical lookup. Once you get the search value, it will stop there, and from that particular row, see, from this same row, it will fetch you the data of the column number you specify. Now suppose of this employee, I would like to pick the fourth column data. It will give me the region. Sixth column, it gives me earnings. Second column, it gives me the name of the employee. So likewise, which column you mention, that column's data will be fetched over there using VLOOKUP. Now before even you apply VLOOKUP, you need to keep two things in your mind. That is, your lookup value, see, the search value, should be present in the leftmost column of the data. Suppose I select this entire data for applying VLOOKUP, then the lookup value, that is the employee ID in this case, should be present in the leftmost column of my selection. And that leftmost column should contain unique values. These two are the important things that you have to keep in mind even before you apply VLOOKUP, so that you get accurate results when you do so. Now let's go here. Let us apply VLOOKUP. We give equals VLOOKUP. Lookup value is this. Then you select the table array. Table array is our entire table over here. And you make it absolute. This is also necessary because the same table has to be referred. I don't want the reference to shift here and there. It should be exactly the same number of cells. So I'll make it absolute, comma. Next is column index number. You look at the parameter. The parameters are really important. Lookup value we have already provided, that is employee ID. Table array, I chose the entire data here. Column index number. Now which column should I fetch? Which column's data? That is decided by what is there over here on top. So I require name. So name is in which column, you need to check here. It's in the second column of my selection. So I'll mention 2. And the last part, see, if you don't provide anything over here, by default, it will take this true value, which is approximate match. So we would like to get an exact match, exactly matching the employee ID that I have provided. So that is the best way to apply actually. And if you choose approximate match, and if your data is not in a sorted order, there are very high chances that you get a wrong result here. So I'll tell you how this approximate match works. Currently, let me use false. Either type false or your type 0, both mean the same. Give this, press enter. You can see Roger Williams is the name for this particular employee. Let me zoom it. See, A005, I got the name. So now let's go here. I want to drag it to other cells. That is, copy paste the same function to other cells as well. Let's do it for one. It gives me NA. Reason, you see, this has moved to name column. See, it should remain in the employee ID column always. So you should make so that your lookup value is constant here. Just go here, select J6, press F4. It will make the employee ID constant now. So write and copy right. Now you see the same results in all the cells. That's because we have given a hard coded value in place of column index number. Now when I say hard coded value, we gave it manually. There is no other function which is fetching it dynamically. We have provided it as 2 over there. So it is taking from there. Now for department, the column number should be mentioned as 5. You get that. Earnings, it was the 6th column. So I'll change this to 6. And we'll change the region to 4 here. See, to get that, you need to change the column index number to 4. So now you have got this. Let's check. Does this get me the result for other employees as well? So I'll choose somewhere from here, E013. See, immediately the rest of the values will also change if you change the search value. So now this is how the VLOOKUP works. It will search for the lookup value vertically. Once it gets the value in the selection, it will stop, and from the same row of your search value, it will fetch the data from the column index number that you specify. That's how VLOOKUP works. So now we saw how to get the values for a single employee ID. Suppose I want to get values for multiple. So that's how it will be in our real-time data. I'll just choose randomly from here. Some employee IDs, I'll just choose from this. I'll put it here. I'll take it from the end as well. I'll just randomly pick some employee IDs over here. Now over here, again, I want to get the same values for the other employee IDs as well. In that case, see, currently, if I copy paste this VLOOKUP function that we have given to other cells, you can see it is providing the same name. The reason, you check that yourself, you select the cell, press F2. So it is still referring to the first row employee ID that we had provided, because we have made the cell absolute. So when you make any reference absolute, it's not going to change. See, though I want the reference to stay in J column, I require to change the reference on the row. Row numbers should change when I copy paste downwards. So in that case, I can't keep J and 6 both as constant. So I should again press F4. See that dollar is only on J column. So that is going to help me in keeping the reference in J column, but changing the row number to 7, 8, 9, 10. Currently it is at 6. Now let's copy down. You can see the values have changed. Now likewise, I'll just copy paste this towards right, or just go and change the cell reference. Anyway, it is good. Either you copy paste from the left cell and change the cell reference, or you just go and change the cell reference manually. So even region we have to change like this. Now once this is done, see, copy paste these values to down, and you can see we have got values for other employees as well. So if the employee ID is present in the database, you will get the values. If I give some employee ID which is not there, it will give me indicating the value that I'm looking for is not present in the selection that I have provided. That is the meaning of it. So you have to look out for these things and be really careful with the cell references. So only this will help you make your formulas dynamic. Where you have to provide a dollar, where you should not, you should be able to judge by now. So that will help you applying any function without any hassles. Now let's see how to use Lookup. Let's select. Say I have this data. So you can see here we have total sales, cost of sales, gross profit, everything regarding sales mentioned here as headings. And we have the values for these headers for mentioned in different quarters over here, and also the total. Now suppose I would like to get these values based on the quarter I mentioned. Now if I mention quarter 2, I would like to know its marketing value or cost of sales. So any one I mention, so it should pick from them. This Lookup also does the same job as Vlookup. Only thing is the direction in which it searches the value is different. If Vlookup searches vertically, Lookup searches horizontally. Now let's see how to give this. So even for Lookup, you have the same set of rules to be followed. Your lookup value should be at the topmost row, and that topmost row should have unique values. These two things are really important again. Let's go here. I'll use Lookup, and I'll choose this as my lookup value. Again, I'll keep only the column absolute. Table array, I'll choose the entire table over here. I'll make it absolute. The next parameter is row index number. See, in Vlookup, we saw column index number. In Lookup, you have to provide row index number. Which row should be taken? Now, again, that is also decided based on the heading over here. I require overhead. Let us see in which row it is present. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'll provide 5 over there in place of row index number. Next, range lookup. Again, even here you have approximate and exact match. Always we recommend you to go for exact match so that you get the accurate results. Once you have provided, copy paste it to other cells. The same result because the row number has not changed. So net profit. Look for that over here. Net profit is, the overhead is 5th row, this 6, 7, 8. So net profit is 8th row. I'll go here and change it to 8, the row number. I'll change this to 8. And profit percentage has to be 9, the next row after net profit. And I'll change the format to percentage over here. So that will help us. So now that we have got the values, let us check if it is going to provide me the values for other quarter as well. See, it says 7520 overhead value for quarter 2. See, that is the case. Overhead. So likewise, if I want it for multiple quarters, I want to see it at once, I can just drag it. I'll delete this part. Now again, copy paste this towards down. You will get the values for other quarters also. In the very beginning itself, I made J5 as column absolute and row relative. That's the reason the row reference has changed automatically when I copy pasted it below. So you can see here. Match is a function which is used to get the position of any item in a given array. Now why should we use it and how it will be useful? You will see that in few minutes. See, match, I use match and I get the position of an employee ID. Let's say I'll say E025. If it is there, it should give me. Let me check if it is there. See, E025 is not there. Let me give a lesser value. I'll go and change it to E015. Now I should know in which row it is present in this given list, if that's the list that I'm choosing. Match will help me. See, it is same as you asking your husband or wife, so have you written this item in the list? So please check. So before going to a grocery shop, you'll say yes, yes, it is in the fifth row, or it's the fifth item or 10th item that I have written. So match also does the same thing. You just provide match, you give the value that has to be looked for, and this is the important part. Lookup array should be either a single column or a single row only, strictly. See, it can be either this or it can be only this. So one row selection or one column selection only is allowed. There is no multiple columns and rows selection in match. It doesn't work, it will throw an error. Now I'll choose this column. That is where the employee ID is present. And I would like to know where exactly E015 is there, in which row. I'll make it absolute, comma. Even here you have less than, greater than. These things are similar to the approximate match. Now suppose I want to get exact match, I'll use 0. You see, it says 16. So how it is 16? You look at the data selection. I have included the header as well. See, if you include the header, even that is considered as one of the line items in the list we have. Now, if I reduce this, if I don't provide employee ID in my input, see it says 15. So match works on your list selection and the value that you have provided. It is very important that you select properly. I have selected this list. It has provided me the position of E015. Now the same logic I can be using in Vlookup to find out the column numbers and in Lookup to find out the row numbers. That's going to help us. So let's go here. I'll just give that example here to combine Vlookup and match and get the results for this. I'll copy this. I'll put it here. I'll remove this. Now first of all, to get the position of name, we counted it manually. Now let's see how to get it without using this thing. The manually giving the number without providing that, how to get the values. So let's go here. I'll use match function in this place. Say equal to match. The lookup value is the column that we have below. See this area, name. So looking at this only, we were providing the column number. So I'll choose this. I'll make the row absolute. See, because see, if we are using it in so many other cells, the reference should remain in this 20th row only. So you can see here it's K20. In 20th row, whatever value is there, I should keep referring to the same cell. In the same row. So I keep only the row absolute. Next, lookup array. Now where do we search for this? How will I get the position of name? That is there in the main table, and that too in the headers. So make sure you select all the headers over here. Only one row selection, keep that in mind. I'll make it absolute. So you choose to provide exact match here. Now we got the match value. As to, let's check if I change this to employee ID, it should show me first column. I'll change this to region, it should change to 4. It's correct. So if I provide SSN, it should say it is third column. So based on the column name you specify here, the match function will return the position of that header in these headings that we have selected, in which column it is. Now I can use the same in the lookup function that I provide here. Now let me just copy this match function without having to select equal to. Copy this, press enter. So let's go here. I'll give Vlookup. Vlookup. Lookup value is the employee ID over here. I'll make sure the column is made absolute, comma, table array. I'll choose the entire table over here. I'll make it absolute. Column index number. You remember we copied match function, just paste it over here. Comma 0. Close bracket, press enter. Now, copy paste it to other cells below. See, we gave this information, we gave this function only in a single cell and we copy pasted it to other cells. Everything is working fine now. I'll go and change this to name. It should provide me the name of the employees. I'll change this to any column that I want. I'll say region. I'll say this as SSN. It provides me SSN. This as earnings. So whatever name you provide, it gets me the data of that particular column. But make sure the values are matching only if you have the names given properly. Say for department, I need to type complete name, whatever is there over here. Only then it will fetch you. So you can't say DEPT and try getting the values. That's not possible. Now whatever value you have provided there should match with these headings. That is important. Okay, so I'll stop the session here. We'll continue in the next week. I want you all to go through this part, practice it, and get back to me if you have any queries. We'll cover the other topics in the next class. Thank you, guys.